that was not a problem in 2012 or 13, and not even in 14. But lately, last year and this year, the Saints do not score the same amount of points, or they do not look as efficient as an offense when they're on the road. You saw all of the penalties, the layup games, false starts, all of that was attributed to the Saints either not preparing well for the noise volume in Kansas City. I'm not quite sure. I know Arrowhead, I've been in that stadium. It's a very, very difficult stadium. Shout out to Neil Smith. That was the opportunity I had with my classmate Neil Smith when he played for the Chiefs at the time I went to that stadium. So shout out to you, Neil Smith. And that's a very difficult stadium. It can be very intimidating, just like the Superdome is. But whatever the reasoning on the road, the Saints are only averaging between 19 to 22 points per game on the road. And if they're going to have any hope of saving their season, they're going to have to win some of their road games. They're 1-2 on the road, and they're 1-2 at home. So you cannot continue to lose on the road, and you're losing at home. So hopefully the trend after they were able to beat Carolina will continue this Sunday in Seattle. So my grade, going back to the grading, Drew Brees, D+. Without Drew, we wouldn't even be in the game. So the only penalty I gave Drew was because of the pick six. And there is some question as to whose was at fault on that pick six. Some analysts say it was Drew. Some analysts say it was Willie Snead. Some analysts say that Eric Berry just made a great play. So either way, we can't have it on the road, and we're not going to be able to have interceptions against Seattle. You're not going to win games when you're giving up pick sixes. The odds of you winning games are very slim. If you notice the last pick six before this one against Atlanta, the Saints lost that game also. If you go back over the years, the pick six against Cleveland, the Saints lost that game. The pick six against Baltimore, the Saints lost that game. So the odds on the Saints winning games when Drew has a pick six are very slim. We're not the team we used to be where we can overcome these kinds of errors. All right, so we need a clean game. Drew has 5 interceptions in his last 4 games. He started the season with no interceptions. He was doing great. But these last 4 games has led to a total of 5 interceptions. So we got to get that fixed, and we got to get a remedy for that because the interceptions can be really, really game changers and momentum breakers. So that was my grade for Drew. Like I said, without Drew, we wouldn't even be in the games. He is still, to me, playing at MVP level, and we need another outstanding performance here against Seattle. Kyle, your thoughts, any comments on Drew Brees' play?
Yeah, well, thank you for letting me be on your show, Professor. I really am humbled that you allowed me to be here tonight. Thank you so very much.
Oh boy, watch listeners watch it. for him to be saying that, please don't be fooled by that. Such a pleasantry that he's giving me. So I'm just keeping my guard up. What's your point anyway, sir?
See how you treats me? Oh man, look, Drew. I believe Drew is a B, in my opinion, as well. But the only reason why, even though he had 300+ yards and he did complete 77% of his passes, and give him a B because that he did have a couple of passes that I was like, not quite sure what's going on there with Drew. But I believe there was one time in the game that Drew had an opportunity to at least run for the first down. He didn't take that opportunity to do so. He tried to force in the pass. So, yeah, Drew gets a B. Or, slightly B+. The pass that we have in question with the Willie Snead deflection off his hand from the Coach's Office podcast. You'll listen to it right here on Saints News Radio. Coach Rick Gehling broke it down, and he said that he believed when you analyze that play over and over, Willie Snead should have come toward the ball versus waiting for the ball to come his direction. That could have been a point, but it also appeared to me that Drew threw the ball a little bit behind. So hopefully in the Seattle Seahawks game, we won't have to rely on the pass as much. I think the Saints need to focus on the run. But that's my opinion.
Okay. All right. And good point. So techniques, this is why I say a lot of times you hear me talking about coaching, because that's something the wide receivers coach, I'm probably more than sure, has reiterated to all the wide receivers about teaching them the technique of sometimes coming back to the ball. So, and not to allude also the great play by Eric Berry. So that's something we'll keep an eye on in terms of that. Let's jump to the running backs. Well, the running backs had a decent day. He ran for over 100 something plus yards. Hightower looked phenomenal. Mark Ingram had the big fumble. And Mark Ingram doesn't fumble a lot, but unfortunately, I can remember this is the third game where he's had a crucial fumble over the years that has hurt the team. Last year was the Tampa Bay game, and then it was in the playoff game against Seattle. And Kyle has been hammering for quite a while that Mark needs to do a better job when he's running of securing the ball, holding the ball like a loaf of bread. And Mark is a 6-year veteran, and he knows better, but that was a huge, the Saints were going in for a touchdown, potentially, and that fumble at the 7 was a breaker. Because if you score there and another touchdown, the score is 28-24, and now the Saints are kicking the ball to Kansas City with 2.5 minutes. You see what I'm saying? And we don't know what would have happened on that last drive by the Chiefs. I'm not saying they would not have scored, or the Saints would have held up, but we would have had a totally different game with 2 minutes left. You got to remember in this game, the Saints defense really legitimately only gave up 14 points on 2 plays. The other 13 points the Chiefs got was a Drew Brees kickoff and 2 special teams miscues. A bad kickoff where Will Lutz's foot got twisted or planted wrong that led to a short kick that the Chiefs brought to the 38, which gave them a short field, and the onside kick attempt that did not work out and the ball went out of bounds that gave the Chiefs another short field, then the Nick Fairley penalty, which allowed 6 more points. So really the defense, and we'll get to the defense in a minute, they really did an outstanding job with the exception of 2 plays. So once again, here is where I want you, the listeners, to really get understanding that some of these Saints losses are not all the defense's fault. That Mark Ingram fumble, and going back to the running backs, that Mark Ingram fumble was huge. So my grade for the running backs was an A, but that fumble was so crucial, I dropped them down to a B, solid B, because they did run well. I didn't know why, as Colin, I was talking about why Coach Payton did not stick with the running game, because it was Kansas City did not have a strong run defense, and it led to the team having success. Hightower had almost a 7+ average. And so you may see more of Hightower in this next game also. I'm not quite sure also with Mark what's going on, as I stated last week. It seems that something with him in the running game is slowing down just a little bit. He doesn't look the same as he did in 14 and 15. So hopefully it will improve over these next couple of games, because Mark Ingram is a talented back. He's very reliable. He's good in the passing game. And we need Mark Ingram to continue to produce. So hopefully things will get better, and we put this one behind us, Mark, and just go forward. So my grade for the running backs was a B. Daniel Lesko was not active. I still want to see Marcus Murphy in the Saints passing game. I would still like to see what the young fella can do in the running game. I do not think, nothing against Shamar Cadet, we're just not getting anything there. And we need some more playmakers on the field besides Brandon Cooks. We need more speed, and we need that Darren Sproles. The Darren Sproles type running back, Reggie Bush running back, not being in the Saints offense is killing those Saints drives that are stalling at midfield. because Darren Sproles was very good on 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 4. You were not going to catch Darren Sproles. You could not keep up with Darren Sproles. That's why the Saints had such a potent offense in 11 as well as 12, because the Darren Sproles play was key. And if you look at what he's doing in Philadelphia, the gentleman is not aging. I still say it's worst thing. While Drew Brees was the greatest free agent acquisition the Saints made, the worst decisions made right now in franchise under Sean Payton, I should say, is getting rid of Darren Sproles and getting rid of Malcolm Jenkins, and I still feel they're getting rid of Jimmy Graham. Because Jimmy Graham and Darren Sproles in your Saints offense, the Saints are 5-1 and probably 6-0. 6-0 and 5-1 easily, with those two being on the field with Cooks, Thomas, and Snead. You wouldn't be able to stop nothing that the Saints offense has.
Right.
So
you bring up a good
Kyle.
point. When you look at Danny Lasco, I know he has been injured. Hopefully, from reading the injury report, he wasn't listed as being out for practice, so hopefully he can be able to return. I really liked what I saw in the young man. The couple of times that he did have the football, he looked pretty explosive going into the holes, as well as Hightower. If you look at how he was running, it's very explosive. As soon as he gets the ball, very decisive how he's going to run. His cuts have been pretty on point. What concerns me about the lateral movement of Mark Ingram is that there's not much, and sometimes he's losing his balance when he tries to make quick cuts as well. Now, he does have the straight ahead power that we do need. So running behind Max Unger, if I looked at the play charts on the success of the Saints this season, Mark Ingram has been highly successful running up the middle behind the blocks of Unger. If the Saints can capitalize on some of the injuries along the Seahawks defensive line and have Mark Ingram to follow Unger's path, as well as Evans has done a pretty decent job in the run game as well, I think we can be able to take advantage and get the Saints into, let's say if they only gain 3 yards on first down, 3 yards on second down, well, fine. Then you add 3rd and 4. You know, if they're able to get 4 yards or 4 yards, then you're at 3rd and 2. Instead of having the long 3rd down conversions, and the Saints have done very well this season on 3rd down conversions. I think they're at the top of the league as far as 3rd down conversions. We still need to have this run game to be highly important for the New Orleans Saints. And I agree, Marcus Murphy has that potential if they are allowing him the opportunity to get out into open. He's a satellite player. So let's take advantage of some of the speed that he offers to the New Orleans Saints. I know Sean Payton has concerns about his ball control, but he's still a part of the team. We've got to give this kid a chance. He's only in his 2nd year.
Yep, I agree. You cannot lose patience. I've been stressing that about Coach Payton having patience with players, and as a result of not having patience, we're losing potential weapons. You have to look down the road. They may not be, a diamond usually comes out of the dirt and it's not polished or well shined. But after a while, once that diamond jeweler gets it and the manufacturer and everything do all the work, then you have a polished, shiny, precious, metal. And That's how I look at Marcus Murphy. He may have some areas he's still trying to improve in, but you need to give him a chance because we only have one significant big playmaker at this time is Cook. And the Saints offense used to have 3 to 4. Beecham, Everett, Jimmy Graham, you had Reggie Bush when he was in there and coming out the backfield, then Darren Sproles. So you need that back. You cannot rely only on just Brandon Cooks because teams at times take him out of the game, as Kansas City did against him on Sunday. So you're going to need more playmakers that you can have. And I think Marcus Murphy is kind of enticing to me, from my perspective, that there's something there that we have just not tapped into yet. So we'll see what happens in that area. And I also think that Tommy Lee Lewis